All right.
Do we ever determine which one we're going to go with?
I've got Gilgo Beach open if you want to do Gilgo Beach.
All right.
Hey, guys. We're back on Uncivilized Investigations. This week, Dave has a case for us.
I do.
So you're in charge. Take it away.
I don't like the way this is.
I'm just here to listen.
Alright, so we're going to talk about the Gilgo Beach killings. This is developing, just came into the news within the past couple of years.
It says 2010.
At the beginning, if you go down to the top bottom, you can see what it became.
Gotcha, okay.
Jumping ahead. But it was very interesting. I didn't know much about it. There's been Netflix documentaries made on it and everything. I haven't watched any of them. I did my research the old-fashioned way. Pen and paper.
For you younger people, that's what we used to write on.
We didn't always have these.
But I'm really glad we do.
It's like when one of my kids did a project for school the other day. So he's showing me his PowerPoint presentation. He brings up this slide. It's all scientific information. I'm like, all right, what does that mean? He goes, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know?
Does he want to join Uncivilized Investigations? Because, I mean, that's kind of where we're at, too.
But anyway.
We digress.
So, we'll start. Kind of a weird starting point, but this is where we're going to start. May 21st, 2010, Shannon Gilbert disappeared. She was working as an escort and made a frantic phone call to 911 stating someone was after her and she took off running and then vanished. Police conducted a massive search but turned up nothing until December of 2010. Near Gilgo Beach by an officer and his canine. However...
So 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months later. Okay.
However, they hadn't found Shannon Gilbert. They found remains of 4 other women. Of the 4 women found were Maureen Brainerd Barnes, a 25-year-old believed to be a sex worker, last seen July 9th, 2007, who was reported missing by a friend on July 14th, and her remains were found December 13th, 2010. Another victim was Melissa Bartholomew, a 24-year-old who was also a sex worker, last seen July 12th, 2009.
We're going to butcher names, and we're going to butcher words. English is our first language, but not quite our first language.
No. But she was last seen July 12th, 2009, and reported missing July 18th of 2009.
My birthday.
It is your birthday. Was it you?
No.
Interestingly, after her disappearance, her phone was used to make taunting phone calls to her family. The person on the other end was stating how they had killed their daughter and would go as far to describe graphic details to one of the victims. One of them was her sister.
Oh, that's kind of dark.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
The third victim, Megan Waterman, that's an easy name, who was a resident of Maine, was found in Gilgo Beach, which is in New York.
It could be Waterman. She could be German.
She was a 22-year-old, also a sex worker, last seen June 6, 2010, boarding a travel bus departing Maine headed to New York.
The moral of the story is, don't be a sex worker.
I thought it was don't go to New York.
No, I mean, there's that too, but definitely don't be a sex worker and go to New York.
Who would pay for this, all right? She was reported missing on June 8th by a family member who was looking over her daughter and was concerned that she hadn't checked in, which she usually would. Her body was found December 13th, 2010, and her family also used funding from a non-profit that was focused on protecting human rights to hire private investigators to join the search for her. The fourth victim, Amber Lynn Costello, was a 27-year-old who struggled with addiction and was using sex work to fund her addiction. She was last seen September 2nd, 2010. Her remains were found December 13th, 2010. Witnesses had given statements and description of the client she left with that day following her disappearance. And those descriptions will come back later when we get to suspects. The chief of detectives from Suffolk County connected the similarities in the victims and came to the conclusion that the killer had a type, all short in height, being around 5 feet tall, petite, weighing around 100 pounds, in their 20s, and working as escorts. December 16, 2010, Shannon still hasn't been found. The search continued throughout the spring of 2011. In May of 2011, 6 more sets of remains had been found, making 10 sets of remains in total being found. Still, none of them were Shannon. Investigators were unsure if one person could be responsible for all of the victims being found. Victim number 5 was Jessica Taylor, also an escort who went missing in 2003. Jane Doe number 6, which, as she was referred to until identified as Valerie Mack, who was also an escort that went missing in 2000. Shockingly, the 7th set to remain was a toddler. Don't believe she was a sex worker.
I would hope not.
Up your alley, an Asian man dressed in female clothing was the 8th set of remains found.
Okay, I know we're talking about people dying and it's not funny, but
we have morbid humor.
Can you imagine the look on the killer's face when he thinks he's attacking a female sex worker just to find out it's an Asian dude dressed up like a female?
Imagine the look of the people who found him. They were probably just as surprised.
Yeah.
A skull was found that marked the 9th set of remains, and that was identified as Karen Vergata, who was also an escort and went missing in 1996. 10th victim hasn't been identified officially, but was nicknamed Peaches by investigators because of a tattoo on her torso. She was found over 5 miles away, but police were able to confirm that she was the mother of the toddler. Almost a year and a half.
How do they know she was the mother of the toddler if they don't know who she was?
I tried to figure that one out through DNA.
Yeah,
but they would have had a match on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's odd.
I looked up and down on that one.
Yeah,
I didn't have an answer for the identity of the 10th victim. Almost a year later, September 13th, 2011, Shannon Gilbert was found. A year and a half after going missing, well into the search. Police don't believe she was a victim of murder. Her remains were found in a marshland, and believe in her panic of being chased, she ran into the marshland, tripped, and drowned. For almost a decade, the case went cold. The investigators had been stalled until February of 22, when Suffolk County Police Commissioner formed a new task force for cold cases. Within 6 weeks, incredibly, Rex Heuermann was being focused on for the first time. The new task force was able to find numerous critical clues in the previous investigation to follow up on and develop a lead. Costello's roommate, this is the description that was given, described him being a large man between 6'4" and 6'6", wearing glasses and having an ogreish appearance. Also, driving an early Chevrolet Avalanche. With those statements, police took a closer look at Costello's phone records and activity and found a pattern of a burner phone. Everybody knows what that is, but it's basically a phone that's not associated to a name. Making frequent calls to the victim. The phone was used to arrange dates with the escorts. Barnes, Bartholomew, Costello, and Waterman had all been connected by the use of the same phone early after their disappearance.
I don't think the guy understood the point of a burner phone.
No. I have a great one. It's a company phone.
We'll edit that out so your boss doesn't see it.
Yeah, my boss watches this. In February of 2012, using their resources, were able to determine that most of the calls came from a small radius in the area of the Massapequa Park in Long Island. This area was referred to the box and a narrowed area of the area.
From the Massapequa Park.
Possibly.
You just didn't want to say that word. You got it right the first time and didn't want to run the odds of the second time.
Nailed it once, not doing it again. With the information of the box, the vehicle description, and a physical description, Police were able to identify Rex as a man believed to be responsible for the murders. While looking at his phone records, it was discovered his pattern to be in the same areas as the burners that were used, and he also lived in Massapequa Park. In 2023, he was seen going into a store to make a payment on his burner phone. While the police were following Rex, they saw him throw away a pizza box and collected it and found leftover crust inside and recovered it as evidence. With the leftover crust, they were able to obtain a DNA sample from it, and it matched to a profile found on Waterman's remains. With the new DNA evidence and phone records, police were able to make an arrest. July 14, 2023, Rex was brought into custody and charged with multiple counts of murders for the deaths of Bartholomew, Waterman, and Costello. Even though Rex is considered the prime suspect for the murder, charges had not been filed. His attorney had declared his innocence on his behalf. Police spent 12 days searching his home for further evidence. They recovered firearms from his basement, and they even excavated his yard. Searches went as far as his properties in Las Vegas and South Carolina. The Chevy Avalanche was recovered in South Carolina during these searches. Rex is married and has children, a daughter of his own and a stepchild from his wife and her former marriage. His wife is native-born from Iceland and would take the children on multiple trips to visit, and while away, it is believed that this is when the killings would take place.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
What a hobby.
Be a lot better things to do. Although in New York, being held without bail after being arraigned in Suffolk County Jail, he has maintained his not guilty plea for the murders. During a September 27, 2003 court hearing, his lawyer has disputed the DNA evidence. January 2016, 2024, charges were brought up in the death of Bartholomew Barnes.
January 16th, 2024.
That one.
Yeah, that one.
Investigators were able to connect DNA found on a belt used to restrain the victim to matching hair of either his wife or daughter through a DNA profile.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So he's using his wife's or daughter's belt to kill his victim.
While they're away.
While they're away.
Not only, and hiring escorts.
He's a winner.
He has also pled not guilty to these charges. June 6, 2024, Rex was charged with 2 more killings of the victim Sandra Costello, who was murdered in 1993, and the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor. Their charges were brought up after the discovery of hair near the remains and the pickup truck that still had DNA in the bed. Also pled not guilty to these charges.
At what point do you just say, all right,
yeah,
you got
me on everything else. Just save us some time. December 17, 2024 was the 7th charge filed for the murder victim Valerie Mack, who was first identified as Jane Doe number 6. Partial remains were found in Manorville, and then more on Gilgo Beach over a decade later. The next court date is scheduled for January 13th, 2026 to discuss more pretrial motions. One of the motions that they have discussed that advanced DNA can be used for the trial. And they're also going to use one trial for all the 7 victims they brought up on charges. This is developing, and we'll probably talk about it again.
We're definitely going to cycle back to this one.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
But seriously, how many bodies do they have to find and connect him to before he's like, okay, guys, right.
Figure if they connect them to one from 1993,
yeah,
and it's in 2023 they finally got. 20 years. He's probably thinking he got away with it.
And how many others are there that haven't been found yet? Because it looks like they're still finding bodies. When was the last body found?
That was 2012.
Oh, 2012. But who knows?
2011. Well, 2011 was the last body they found, but that wasn't even connected to him.
And they're not really looking anymore, I would imagine. They're just centered on the 7 they have.
From what I learned, the new task force they brought up was looking at old evidence they had. So it doesn't look like they're trying to recover anymore. Not to say they haven't been. And they found the guy by happenstance.
Yeah.
And decided to start following him, and then led to all this.
He sounds like a winner. Real big winner.
I don't know why he wouldn't just start talking about it, though.
At least in this one, it sounds like the police are doing their job. It sounds like a really good investigation was done.
The second group of police.
The second group of police, yes.
I don't know at default why this evidence wasn't found in the first set. Granted, 10 years had gone by, so...
Yeah, I mean, there's improving DNA evidence and... Technology, yeah.
We'd figure 2010, nobody was thinking about cell towers.
No. Although he really, really misunderstood how to use a burner phone. You don't reuse a burner phone.
No.
Especially.
And in 2023, who's going into a store to make a payment on a phone?
Right.
We always did ours.
And what, he had a burner phone in 2010? I can only imagine what he was paying for it. That's probably why he kept it, because phones were expensive then. Even like your little knockoff.
Well, they're not cheap now.
Oh, that's true. Well, they're computers now.
All the technology in the world.
Yeah, not going to lie. I write my show notes on my phone while I'm at work. If my boss is watching this, that's not true. I'm just making it up for...
Content, yeah. Content. But yeah, police really haven't mentioned another suspect, but they also never mentioned about who Shannon Gilbert was fleeing from. Then again, they found her dead.
Well, maybe if he was trying to pick her up and he was chasing her and he didn't want to get his feet wet.
Didn't have any more clothing of his wife or children.
Right.
With.
Well, that is an interesting one. You're going to have to keep up to date on that and bring that back, even if it's like a cliff note at the bottom of an episode.
Yeah, like I said, January 13th, so that's a little over a month away.
Yeah, that's interesting. My watch thinks I'm on a hike right now. That's cool.
Nice scenery, at least?
Yeah, I guess. Very green.
Just up in the clouds.
All right. Anything else?
Anyway, that's my conclusion as of now to Gilgo Beach until we hear more. I think it'll be following the January 13th case. I think it's just going to be more pre-trial motion.
Oh yeah, these things drag on forever.
Yeah, it'll be probably a full year until they come to any conclusion on anything.
And what's it amuses me every time I hear it, but when they give somebody 7 consecutive life sentences.
What? Without the possibility of parole.
Yeah, so let's just say you're in jail for life and until you die. You don't have to say 7 lives. Like, I've never understood that.
I just don't know why if you're going to be in jail for life without parole, why are we going to
do it 7 times?
Why are we going to hold you there for that time? If it's pretty much concluded you're not coming out.
That's very true.
That's a different show to talk about.
That's a different show to talk about. Maybe if we get to the point where we have a Patreon, because YouTube's going to cancel us before we even get started.
Yeah, so you guys, if you come up with any other information, let us know through our social media accounts, and stay tuned for more, I suppose.
The links will be in the show notes. Definitely reach out. We want to hear what you want to hear.
Yeah.
We want to hear what you want to hear. Yeah,
tell us what we're doing good, what we're not doing good. Probably a lot of that.
You can tell me I'm doing everything perfectly, and
that's not. No,
Dave is just...
You sat there like a mute the whole time.
What do you want me to do? You're telling me about a case. What are you going to do when I'm telling you about the next one next week? Probably fall asleep.
Depending on when we record it, there's a possibility.
Ooh, I don't know, because the one I want to do is very interesting, and it's kind of close to home.
Close to home?
Kind of. It's about 2.5 hours away.
That's close enough.
It's near my cabin, actually.
I'll be in her.
Very, very near my cabin. But...
Alright, I might not be asleep for that.
But yeah. So, this is Uncivilized Investigations. Check us out next week.
Yep.